Hey Saxes, this is Joel Brainerd, Bachelor Middle School Band Director, and I'm here with Woodwind Specialist Sandy Clevenger. Thanks for joining us, Sandy.
My pleasure.
Sandy, my sax players have so many weird issues that come up through the school year. Can you tell us about some common saxophone problems and give us some tips to overcome those?
Well, it all starts with making a sound. So the most common problem is too much mouthpiece or not enough mouthpiece. If you have too much mouthpiece in your mouth, you will squeak rather badly.
So by too much mouthpiece, she means too much in your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, too little, you're like out on the end.
If you're out on the end, it won't play at all. And if you're all the way in, it'll play, but it'll be awful.
Squeaky?
Squeaky awfulness,
okay.
Yes.
All right, so we want to make sure that our bottom lip touches not too far in, because if you're too far in, we just learned, can be very squeaky. That was my problem on the last video. Too much bottom lip in, so I brought my back lip back to where the reed meets the mouthpiece, and it got better. I was able to play that G. Okay, so that's very important. What else are some common problems?
The reed not being in the right position. If the reed is too high or too low, it won't play very well at all. If it's too low, it may not play at all. If it's too high, it'll be just really difficult to play.
So we want to make sure that the reed is level with the black mouthpiece, right?
Another place that could be kind of confusing is the screws of the ligature always go on the right side. So if your ligature is an upside down one, you'll know because the screws are correct when it's upside down on the right.
Okay.
So this is obviously a regular one in that the screws are on the right.
How can where the ligature is placed affect? You know, if they tighten the ligature up here, will that affect the sound? How
Absolutely.
far down should the ligature go?
The ligature should go past this raised part right there. Some of the mouthpieces actually have lines on them.
Past the raised part? Okay.
But not so far down that you're down at the very bottom. It should just go, on the reed, it should go where the cut part is.
Okay. Oh, okay. The line?
Yeah.
Right here?
Yeah, there's a line on the
right
reed.
there?
Your ligature needs to go farther down below that.
See that line right there? That's where our ligature should come back to. Okay.
Or it should be slightly below that, but not miles below that.
Okay. What else should we be thinking about? Common problems.
Well, when we put the instrument all together, the neck strap has to be in the right position so that you don't have to hunch down to find your saxophone, nor do you have to go way up high to get to the saxophone. The whole weight of the saxophone is all around your neck. And just to prove a point, sometimes with my beginners, I have them just stand up with their saxophone and let go of it and then see if they can get it right into their mouth. And that, it's still a little bit too low.
So I should raise it up a little bit?
Just a little bit.
Okay. Feels like a necktie on me. Oh. Okay, let's see how that went.
Now we're good.
Show off?
Yep. Now we're
Okay.
good.
All right.
The second problem that we have with beginner saxophones in particular is when they play the G or any of the low notes, this hand hits some of these side keys, these palm keys, and can make it very difficult to get a proper sound out.
By accident, we hit one of these side keys when we're trying to just do this?
Yeah, so make sure that you have a nice C formation in your hand. They're nice and loose. I mean, if you hold your hands down to the side and you just hold them up, they should be nice and curved, just like the most natural hand position you can possibly make.
Now, do you have a preference about sax on the side or sax between the legs?
I don't really. It's where it's most comfortable. This year I've been teaching off to the side just because the tenors and the baries also do that, and if you're transitioning from alto to those. But a lot of professors, college professors, prefer in the middle, but they also prefer that you stand most of the time. So,
now, when you do that, when you put it to the side, should you angle the mouthpiece, or should you kind of hunch down in your chair
no,
to make it?
You want to sit up straight. straight, and you'll
Okay.
turn the mouthpiece so that your head is straight up and down.
Okay, so like this, see this, guys? See how the mouthpiece is turned a little bit? Okay. So then the mouthpiece comes straight on out, even with the sax on the side. Okay.
Yep.
So
To get low notes,
oh,
you really have to think about fogging up a mirror so that you can get those low notes out.
okay. I need more foggy work.
It's okay. It's all right. The best thing about playing the instrument, though, is just keep a positive attitude and keep trying no matter what.
All right. I'll keep at it. So we've got squeaks. We've got, we talked about the mouthpiece and accidentally hitting the side keys. What are some common things that go wrong with the instrument itself? If you're having a problem getting a certain note out, what are the most common things that break on a saxophone that we can easily fix ourselves?
You never fix your instrument yourself.
Oh.
Ever.
What are some things your band director might be able to fix?
Sometimes this gets out of whack, this register key, sometimes it gets bent, and so your band director only, or Mr. Kaler, can bend it back to position.
Now, how do we know if it's bent?
Then all of your notes will be high.
And is there any way that we can visually verify that that key is not working properly?
Yeah, if when you push the thumb key down, it doesn't go anywhere, or if when it's down in the rest position, it's still not covering all the way,
Oh, okay.
then it's bent.
All right, yeah, that's a good tip. And sometimes, aren't there these little springs?
The very sharp, dastardly springs.
Yeah, there's these little, they look like pins that pop. Sometimes these little pins will pop out of the key by the pad, and then your key will just be flapping around, and you might stab yourself by accident on one of those.
They're dastardly.
So if you see something like that happen to your saxophone, make sure you bring it to your band director immediately, and he'll show you how to get that back in place. Okay. All right. Great. Well, we covered a lot of ground. Are we missing anything for
I don't
problems?
think so.
Okay, great. Well, I got a lot of work to do on my saxophone technique, but at least now Sandy's given me a couple things that'll help me get better, and with some good practice, I'll get there, and so will you. Good practicing. Happy saxophone.